यामिमां पुष्पितां पावाचं प्रवदन्ते विपिश्चितः वेदवादरता पार्थ नान्यदस्ति वादिन् यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रविदन्त्य विपिश्चितः वेदवादरतां पार्थ नान्यदस्ति वादिन् कामात्मना स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फल प्रदां क्रिया विशेष बहुलां भोगेश्वर्य गतिं प्रति कामात्मना स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फल प्रदां क्रियां विशेष बहुलां भोग ऐश्वर्य गतिं प्रति Yamimam, all these, Pushpitam, flowery, Vacham, words, Pravadanti, say, Avipaschitaha, man with poor fund of knowledge, Veda Vadarataha, supposed followers of the Vedas, Partha, O son of Pratha, Na, never. Anyat, anything else. Asti, there is. Iti, thus. Vadinaha, the advocates. Kama Atmanaha, desirous of sense gratification. Swarga Paraha, aiming to achieve heavenly planets. Janma Karma Phala Pradam, resulting in good birth and other fruitive reactions. Kriya Visheshaha, pompous ceremonies. Bahulam, various. Bhoga, in sense enjoyment. Aishwarya, an opulence. Gatim, progress. Pragati, prati, towards. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than the sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine women are available and material opulences are very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for the elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotis Homa sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to the heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices, and the men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole process, the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced person to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness, as fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attraction. Unenlightened men are similarly attracted by the heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. In the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, it is said, Apala so mam amrita abhuma, and aksavayam ha vai chaturmasya vijanaha sukritam bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4 months penances becomes eligible to drink the somras beverage or to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have somras to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratification. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called a Nandan Kanan, in which there are good opportunities for association with angelic beautiful women and having a profuse supply of somras wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual, and therefore there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as the lords of the material world. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayarupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutpadkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagan Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitansha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोप्यकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। हरे कृष्ण। So, we are reading out the purport to chapter 2, verse 42 and 43. And this verse is the series that we are doing is about understanding Karma Yoga. And in this, you have already seen that Krishna was saying that a little endeavor done on the spiritual path can help us escape the biggest fear that you have done in last verse and last to last verse. But now Krishna says that the men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of Vedas. Now, we may be confused. Some people ask different type of question on this verse. They ask, why is Krishna rejecting the Vedas? Although we all know that in Bhagavatam it's given Tene Hridaya Adi Kave, that Lord himself has given that knowledge, the all Vedic knowledge, in the heart of Brahma. But now he is saying that no, you have to reject the flowery language of Vedas. Is it not controversial? Is it not like Krishna is saying two different things? Answer is no. Krishna is basically rejecting those people who are attached to the fruitive mentality, and they're just picking out the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. While Krishna himself in 15th chapter, 15th verse is saying, Vedesha Chahameva Aham Vedyo. Means in all the Vedas, the knowable is me. So, the gist of all the Vedas is to understand me. So, it's not that he is rejecting the Vedas. What he is doing? He is telling that don't be bewildered with the flowery language given. Why flowery? Why pushpitam vacham? Why flowery? Because flower looks very beautiful. It is beautiful, but temporary. Its aroma, flower definitely have a very beautiful aroma, but that's also temporary. Similarly, this fruitive section of Vedas, which is called as Karma Kanda, is also very temporary. The results are also very temporary, and more of, they will not help you come out of the cycle of birth and death. Rather, you are more entangled in the cycle of birth and death, because as soon as you develop that sense of fruitive mentality, you are doing all the sacrifices and doing all the rituals just to gain that, result. What is the result that I am going to achieve? So what is the phala that I am going to have? Do this and you will get this, and do that, you worship this and you will do that. Right? There are so many rituals being given in Vedas, and accordingly in Vedas, they have been divided further into Shruti, Smriti, Itihasa, Purana, Uppurana and so on. And so all these Vedic scriptures are giving you according to the different modes of material nature. Right? Even our Shastras are divided into, like Puranas, there are 18 Puranas. Out of this, 6 are Satoguni, 6 are Rajoguni, and 6 are Tamoguni. So all type of men, what is the purpose of Vedas? That all type of men, according to their mode of material nature, they can first be attracted to the Vedas. They do some rituals, they do some sacrifices, slowly they will learn. And when they will learn that, then in that, suppose the man is a Tamoguni man, right? So he is full of Tamoguna, mode of ignorance. What will happen? First he will be attracted to that Tamoguni section of the Vedas. But in those Tamoguni section, there will be some rituals, some things where you have to do certain austerities, then you have to do certain vrata, you will be observing certain fast, and slowly you will be moving towards, you will be coming out of your mode of ignorance and you will be moving towards mode of passion. And then you start going towards mode of passion. All those scriptures that are in mode of passion, they will be attracted to them. And then they will learn, okay, if I do this fast, I'll achieve this, and if I'll do this, then I'll attain this, and if I this, what will happen? I will achieve heaven, which is being mainly described in the purport here, right? So, once they start doing the rituals of those Karma Kanda section, and they're doing some yajna, then what will happen? In those doing yajnas, they will be putting some sacrifices for the Lord also, right? In that whole process, they'll be inviting some of the sacrifices would be done for Lord also, and slowly, they have to elevate themselves towards the mode of goodness and engage themselves in devotional service. So that's the process of Vedas. But what Krishna is saying is that you should not be attached to those fruitive activities of Vedas, because if you get attracted only to the sense gratificatory process given in Vedas, and you just think, oh, that's all, that is all, there's nothing else. So then it is what it said, men of small knowledge. So that means your knowledge is not complete. The knowledge would be complete only when you will understand that actually the Vedas, the ultimate destination of all Vedas is to understand what? Yes, Krishna, right? So, if you go for all the Vedas, ultimately just is to understand Krishna. So, we can remember one context from Bhagavatam in 4th canto, when Daksha organized a sacrifice. So, it's a very popular sacrifice that is being organized by Daksha. So, in Daksha's sacrifice, what happened? Because he did some Vaishnava aparadh, he, defamed Lord Shiva, who is Vaishvananam Yatha Shambhu, he is like the best of all Vaishnavas. And he did some Vaishnava aparadhs, and those sequence of Vaishnava aparadh, what happened? There was a sequence of curses and curses and counter curses from both the sides. Right? So, Nandi, in 4.22, I have read that Nandi said, Greheshu kut dharmeshu sato gramya sukhechaya karma tantram vitnute vedvat vipanidhi. Pretentiously religious householder life, pretentiously, it's like it's pretending. Religious household, why it is called as pretentiously religious? Because they are basically into Karma Kanda. They don't understand what is the gist of Vedas. So Nandi is saying that pretentiously religious, Kut dharmeshu. So it's basically not the religion, it's a fake religion, pretentiously religious. Householder life in which one is attracted to material happiness and thus also attracted to the superficial explanation of Vedas, robs of all intelligence and attaches one to the fruitive activities as all in all. What are they saying? They are saying that all those householders who pretentiously are religious, the one who is religious will surely understand that to be religious means to do devotional service towards Lord. Right? This is a dharma. Dharma is to love God, is to attain the love of God and to serve Lord. This is actual religion. But pretentiously religious, what is the pretentiously religious? So it's like in most of our culture in India, we have so many rituals, so many states, so many languages, so many rituals all around. And in all those rituals, what people are doing? Okay, I'll do this, I'll decorate my home, and today is this festival, and we are doing this, we are, cleaning the entire home. That's good. At least they are coming towards, mode of goodness, cleaning their home and cleanliness, and they're doing certain sacrifice. But if they're doing everything only for sense gratification, that we will be having Lakshmi in our home, or the bad omens will go, or this or that, like all those material desires. My daughter should be married, or I should get a good husband, or I should get a beautiful wife, or I should get a very beautiful son, or an intelligent son. This type of things they demand. But we must remember, whatever we achieve, all these things that we are achieving in this manner are all temporary. So even we see that we can take the example of Ravana. He worshipped Lord Shiva, right? And we have also seen Parchetas worshipping Lord Shiva. Both of them worshipped Lord Shiva, but result was entirely different. When Ravan worshipped Lord Shiva, he came and he gave some, okay, what do you want? I want this power, this power, this power. Okay, tathastu. Right? But when Parchetas, with a pure heart, they worshipped Shiva, then Shiva did, and they didn't ask for any material opulence or material power or material beauty or anything of that sort. Then what did Lord Shiva give? Lord Shiva gave them a mantra. Yeah, Rudra Gita. Right? By which they can worship Lord. They can worship Lord. So they gave mantra by which Parchetas can cooperate and worship Lord, and by which Lord will be pleased very soon. So same worship, both the situation, they worshipped Lord Shiva, but the result was entirely different. Here, he got a lot of material opulence and then entangled, and then, what he did, everybody know. But here, Parchetas, they got mantra by which they could easily please Lord, and Lord came and they blessed them. So, the result, even of the same ritual, is different. Why? Because by what intention you're doing. By what intention you're doing. If we are doing the same ritual, that's like Krishna consciousness. If we are cooking for our own sense gratification, that becomes our karma bandhan. If we are doing for some sacrifice to please some demigods and something, okay, we get some benefits, right? And if we do same cooking for the pleasure of Lord, then what do we get? We get the eternal love of Krishna. So that's the difference. Although externally the activity may look the same, but what matters is by what consciousness you are doing it. So externally there are some things which may look same, but what is the intention behind it? So that is what Vedas are also saying. Look, Vedas have also explained that in Canto 1, Chapter 4, where all the Vedas, it is being described by Sut Goswami like there was one Veda and it was ultimately divided into 4 Vedas, and so many rishis were given allocated. Gemini Rishi, this Rishi was given Atharvaveda, Yajurveda and all that. So in one context, Srila Prabhupada was, I have seen Prabhupada writing that we don't have to get engrossed with those Vedic words like Gemini Rishi, because he is researching on the Vedas and is doing all the things on Vedas, on the working on the flowery language of the Vedas, but ignoring Krishna. Right? So I think this line I have seen in 6th Canto, 2nd chapter. So Prabhupada says that it's not that we are not following Vedas. Yes, we are also following Vedas. We are also following the Vedic proceedings. But what should be done is that we should understand that the consciousness behind all our activities, all our service, all our rituals that we are doing are basically to please the Lord. If that intention is wrong, then you will land up with you will catch a wrong train. So if the intention is wrong, then you will not land up getting the love of Krishna. You will land up with some material gratification. You may land up in heaven, where you may be desiring for very beautiful gardens filled with demisels and around you and somarasa and all this being explained. But what is the use of it? Rather, if we go to heavenly planet and if we have the habit of enjoying all these things, then what will happen? We'll fall down very soon. As soon as our punyas get over, it's like you're sitting on a chair, enjoying, all around you, very beautiful gardens, beautiful beings around you, enjoying somarasa, and suddenly your chair slipped and you fall down into this material world and this bho world, right? Again. So what is the use of it? It's like going to Switzerland, going to go and enjoy, and then your visa is over and you come back and you're living in some African country, right? So you are living in some interior African country where there is no food. So maybe you have accumulated some wealth, gone to heavenly planets, enjoyed, but then you to again come to the same world. So what is the use of it? Rather, now you will always be repentful. Hi, mere ko wo nahi mila. I was so happy there, but it becomes difficult. Suppose somebody of you is from a cold country. So living in Vrindavan in such hot temperature becomes little difficult. So you're from a cold country where the temperature is around 0 to 10, say this is the good temperature you're living in, and you have a habit of living in this temperature, and suddenly you come in 45 degree, right? So it becomes very difficult. So if we go to heavenly planets, and even if we go to heavenly planets, I should say, even if we go to heavenly planets, what's the use? So what is the use of all these Vedic injunctions if we are not transcending the mode of material nature? If we don't understand what is the use of these Vedic scriptures, if we just get that beauty, by all these Vedic things we get beauty. And what do we get? Power. And what do we get? Opulence. Right? So what is the use of all this? Because with something click, the body, we all will leave this body. Right? No matter we are Ambani, or we are Michael Jackson, or we are some Obama or anybody. Like a click of a mouse, this body is we are going to leave this body suddenly one day. And whatever earnings, whatever opulences we have accumulated, whatever pride, whatever post, whatever power, whatever beauty, whatever things we have accumulated are going to vanish in a fraction of a second. And we will not be able to survive even for 1 second more. We just say, okay, I'm just signing. Please wait for 1 minute. I'm just signing. My will. No. So point is that we must understand that yes, we are following Vedas, but with the right consciousness. What is the right consciousness? Krishna consciousness. So that is what always Prabhupada was insisting. And that is why Prabhupada named the society as International Society of Krishna Consciousness. He is not saying Krishna activities. He is saying Krishna consciousness. The whole process is to improve our consciousness. We are still into, oh, this happened in my life. That happened. That man is responsible for all the sufferings that I am having. And that lady is responsible for all the bad things in my life. Or anything. Nobody is responsible. It's always said that nothing can touch you unless until it's your karma's reaction. And if it is our karma reaction, we should be happy. If something bad happened to us, rather we should be happy. Okay, at least some loan has been paid off. Some debts. If I'm a chartered accountant, so I can speak in terms of accounts. So, all our debits are now written off from our balance sheet, right? So it's good. So any karmic reaction that we're getting, it's good. At least that karmic reaction is gone now, right? Otherwise, we are going to carry this. We don't know for how many births we are going to carry this loan. How many births are we going to carry? Whatever repercussions we are going to have. So it's good that all these sufferings are done. If all the sufferings are done, my account is zero. Once my account is zero, my consciousness is purified. My subtle body, mind, intelligence, everybody is focused towards Krishna, then okay. But here there is no work. Then you have to just be the instrument of your spiritual master and work as per his will. Whatever he wants, right? He wants you to serve in this particular way. You just serve in that particular way. And you're relieved. Srila Prabhupada says, just give one life to me. How many lives we have spent? Speaking n numbers, thousands, crores, it's like countless.
Unlimited.
Right?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. That's true. Unlimited. And one day, my son was asking me, Mother, how many births did I had? Okay, let's count, right? Suppose this is the first universe that we entered. Suppose. So Brahmaji is 51 years now, right? So 51 into, every year we'll be having 360 days, and every day we'll be having 1000 Chaturyuga, and same 1000 Chaturyuga in the night. So one Chaturyuga is 43,20,000. And suppose you live average, even being an ant, suppose every average is 100 years. It's easy to divide. So you multiply and give me, because he is a math student, he is a very good in maths. So I told him, now you calculate. So he calculated this many number of births. Okay. Now what you do is, you now put so many lines on the wall. So he calculated. And said, this wall is not sufficient to draw, because even if I just make 1 centimeter of line, according to births, this is only one, not even, will be only having one Chaturyuga, matlab one yuga only. One yuga. Right? So what about one Chaturyuga, and you talk about one day of Brahmaji, so you require lakhs and lakhs of walls to draw that 1 centimeter line throughout the wall. If I draw, he calculated somehow. So I require thousands of wall. Now Srila Prabhupada is saying that you have to just give that small line, half centimeter of line, in all those thousands of walls that we have already lived, and thousands of walls we are going to live. If you are not in Krishna consciousness, they were going to live for thousands of walls of lines. Each life is a line, right? And Prabhupada is saying you just give half of that line, whatever you have left with, right? You may be left with maybe 20 years, 30 years. You just give that, and I'll take you back to Godhead. So this Krishna conscious movement is not that simple movement. You can see the type of crowd that is being attracted by Srila Prabhupada. You have seen the entire month. It was difficult to reach Prabhupada's house. It was so much crowded. And I'm young, but when I read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, you must have seen, I think many of you have seen that era. And Srila Prabhupada inaugurated this temple and made this temple. I hope many dignitaries are there. So, in those days when Prabhupada got this land, everybody was saying, "Are nobody will come here. This is the back of Vrindavan. Nobody will come here." What was front of Vrindavan? Mathura to Vrindavan, that Radha Govind Dev temple road is the front of Vrindavan. That side was front. It was all fields around. Nobody lives here. It's all blank. So, and sometimes when the devotees were making this temple, they used to buy cement and they used to steal all the cement, and all the steel was taken off, and they had a tough time making this temple. And the type of crowd we see in Vrindavan now, who brought this crowd? All glory to Srila Prabhupada. When I see crowd in Vrindavan, and people's, if you see from with a helicopter, you will see only heads running here and there. So much of crowd is being attracted to Vrindavan. So as you're all living in Vrindavan, we have so much preaching opportunities now. People who want to be with Krishna are coming to Dham to see Krishna. At least they have that, they have that instinct of having darshan of Krishna. And that is why they are coming. Okay, they don't know anything. They are putting Radhe Radhe stamp all over. They are enjoying lassi and tikki. But okay. But at least they have that sukriti to enter Dham. They are coming to Dham. They are not going, okay, they are coming here to enjoy. But I am saying they are not going to Shimla, Uti. They are coming to Dham. And what if we are able to deliver this message of Bhagavad Gita to each one of them who is entering Dham? So that's what Srila Prabhupada always wanted. So the people, he made beautiful temples, beautiful service of the deities. Why he has made such a beautiful, paraphernalia? Because he always said it's to attract people, general people, to come and visit, understand Krishna consciousness. So that's the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, to make such beautiful temples all around. And by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, every city is having, if not a temple, then at least a preaching center is all there. Right? You go everywhere, you'll find at least some preaching activities going on. So, all the devotees who are staying in Dham, it's a time that, some devotee was telling me day before yesterday that, oh no, it's like public has been coming like bombs, when bombs splashes, so many. So public is coming to Vrindavan like that. Venki, that's good. So what we can do? We can distribute Srila Prabhupada books. We can deliver the actual message of Vedas to them. And actually we can invite them to Krishna consciousness. And that's what all our youths can do. All our seniors can guide us how to do. Right? So that's how we can all arrange in such a way that with proper guidance and proper efforts we can guide and we can preach, give books, preach all these people who are coming to Dham. So you go to Mayapur Dham, you go to Vrindavan Dham, or you go anywhere. Anywhere Prabhupada temple is always full of devotees. You go to Mayapur, again you will not find a place to even stand in Mangala Aarti. At 4:30 am, when the whole world is sleeping, you see Prabhupada temples are flooded with devotees. And that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So, I think this is what Prabhupada is saying, that don't run after the flowery words of Vedas and don't go after sense gratificatory processes. Just we should all cleanse our consciousness and serve Lord, understand that He is the essence of all Vedas. Thanks for hearing this class very nicely. If you have some point to add on, or if you want to ask any question, you can ask.
What exactly is the message for today's circumstances?
For us, the message in this verse is that even if we are following Vedas, like from my schooling background, I'm from Arya Samaji school, DAV school. So they used to teach us Vedas. I was a national topper of Vedas in my school times. But I was confused because understanding all Vedas, but we couldn't understand what is the Vedas for. So we must understand that all the Vedic processes are to worship Lord Krishna, is to understand Krishna. So we should not just go for those Karma Kanda section of Vedas. We should understand the essence is Lord Himself.
Arya Samaji don't follow Krishna at all.
That's what I'm saying. So that is how they just do sacrifices. And even as a child, like till my schooling, I used to ask them thousands of questions. And my, so-called, they were like teachers, they were very Prakhand Pandit of Vedas, and they were not able to answer my questions at all. And when I came to ISKCON for the first time 20 years back, right, 2001. So when I came and I attended one class, then I got so many questions being answered, which I was finding from my childhood. So that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. That's the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's philosophy. That's completing everything. And like if I tell my background, so my grandmother was from used to go to Brahmakumaris. She used to hold my finger, take me to Brahmakumaris. In my school, I used to learn all Vedas, and I was like a good student and used to learn everything, and I used to take national scholarships in that. My father was Hanuman Bhakt. My grandfather was a Vaishnava. Although I lost him in very early childhood, but he used to chant. So I was confused, literally confused. Whom to follow? What is there? So I used to go to Brahmakumaris and ask my questions from them. So they were all confused, goal, 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 goal. I was given that intelligence at least by Krishna, that I couldn't make out that they are fooling me. Right? So when I used to ask my questions from my Vedpa teachers, they used to give me some answers, but then again goal, 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 goal. So that they were not having clarity. And they said, no idol worship must be there. They are just murti. Murti puja nahi honi chahiye. I used to ask then, when God is everywhere, it's sarvatra. When God is everywhere, why not in the idols? If God is everywhere, then He must be in idols also. No. Except these idols, God is everywhere. What is this? Such ridiculous answer. And when I used to go with my papa, I used to ask, like, you are worshipping idol. My school says you should not worship idol. So, but I used to feel happy when I when I visited temple, I used to see the Lord. I used to feel happy. I used to feel peace. So why I am feeling peace in temple? Why I am feeling so, good in the presence of Krishna, Ram? Why I am feeling so? If they are just murti. So they never used to give me proper answers. And then came Srila Prabhupada. When I just got one lecture from devotees, like you exalted devotees, so one lecture from them, and the whole life changed. And then, one class was sufficient enough, and after that, I just, no looking back. So that's the gist of Vedas. So when I saw this verse, when Mataji gave me this verse, I was so happy. This is what is, my mother was always into rituals, do this, do that, like all, like Hindu families, mothers do. So the all type of rituals, you do this, on this festival you do this. So why? She never used to give me answers. No, I got the why. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, actually, this verse brings very nicely how, Krishna consciousness teaches us right from Apichetsu Duracharya Bhajanturam Anyamada. The most sinful of sinners. And we can see all over the world how Prabhupada attracted, even the lowest of classes into Krishna consciousness. How you can move from there to the highest stature of pure devotee. And everything in between. So, all the confusion is removed. Because Hinduism, like you say, even I was born in India, but totally confused because North Indian is following something different, South Indian something different, East Indian something different, West Indian something. And even today there's a lot of khichdi like this thing. But Prabhupada made it so clear, and we can find out where we are and where we have to go.
Yeah.
And what is the path.
And the beauty of Srila Prabhupada theory is, after coming and reading Srila Prabhupada books, till 2004-05, I read like small books, middle books, Bhagavad Gita 2-3 times, and in just 2004-05 only, I just like the entire, apart from my professional life, I used to read scriptures a lot in those days. And what I found, I again went back to Vedas. Okay, let me see. Now can I understand Vedas or not? In the light of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, can I understand Vedas? The beauty of Srila Prabhupada's philosophy is that now all those confusions given in, wherever I was stuck up, have all been clarified. So there was no contradictions. There was no, Prabhupada's philosophy is so inclusive that all the Vedas, all the things are transparently clear now. So there is no confusion at all. We can understand what is what. And those who are teachers of Vedas, they couldn't understand. And Srila Prabhupada, after reading Srila Prabhupada books, it's become so clear that each and every line of Srila Prabhupada make the things perfect, all the Vedas perfectly aligned with that, no contradictions at all. Any query? Thanks a lot. So if I have done some mistake, please forgive me. You're all exalted Vaishnavas. Thanks for opportunity for us serving. Shil Prabhupada ki jai.